Getting to know a young artist is like falling in love to me. I get excited about getting to know where they come from, where they are, their process, their creativity, and where they're heading. And today I'm talking to Zachary Crane. Thank you for having me, Zach.
Thanks for coming over to my home.
I'm excited.
/ studio.
It's like your creative studio, but also where you live.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's always how it's gonna have to be with me. I wake up in the middle of the night and I have an idea that immediately has to be done.
Yeah.
And I can just come right over to my desk and just pound it out. Whereas if I had to go, drive in traffic and then there's just a translation that gets lost.
What was your first connection to art in general?
My whole family is really artistic. There's 5 kids in my family. It comes from my grandma, I think. She is kind of like a self-taught painter, and she doesn't really know how funny her work is. She takes it super seriously, but I mean, they're interesting. I can't say they're bad because they're cool, but she's got a serious flair going on, and I just kind of always loved drawing. It's been a great expression for me. I grew up with a pretty minimal lifestyle. We were pretty late in the game with internet or cable or anything like that. So I kind of would sit in church with my parents and I would draw people in the crowd. I would paint, I would sit there and draw them, and my mom was like, that's rude but funny. She's like, that looks exactly like Joan, and you captured her double chin perfectly. And
and now let's talk about your work, because I feel like there's different layers to your work, Zach. In a way, you have this pop culture commentary. Mm-hmm. In another way, I feel like your self-portraits are very reflective of your life, I assume. They're also very sensual.
Right.
But they seem very different from each other. It's like something connects them, but yet it's like where you are, what you're proposing, and what you're putting out there. How does that all come along, or how does it come together?
You're definitely right about them all being separate things, but I think the aesthetics of what I do brings it all together in my handwork. But it just depends. I'll always love pop culture. I'll always love commenting on what's going on currently. I love celebrities. I love plastic surgery. I love scandals.
Yeah.
I love painting Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett with her fingers in his mouth and her hands down his pants. I have weird fantasies and comments and opinions about what's going on in the world.
And have you had commentary from celebrities that you've drawn and come to you about your work?
I've had a cease and desist, yeah.
Okay.
I've had mainly really positive comments, and mainly people want it. I've got Jane Fonda owns one, Miley Cyrus does, Jennifer Goodwin.
Would you say you found in drawing a way to express yourself and to express maybe things you wouldn't talk about?
Oh yeah, completely. I used to make everybody in my family is artistic, and we all have different mediums. We are all very, very narrative, and I used comic books and graphic novels as a way to, I didn't make superhero, Batman, Robin stuff going on. I made more the daily life of my neighbor Bonnie.
So you would mix it. In a way, you're a visual storyteller, because you're drawing and you're also pulling from your own imagination of what their lives would be.
Yeah, and I didn't start getting, I've always enjoyed it. It's always been therapeutic. It's always been fun. I've always been good at it. But I didn't start actually taking it seriously until 3.5 years ago when I moved here. I had Instagram long before it was super popular, when it was just iPhone users and I was uploading work, and a lot of people were just I didn't really have a following at the time, but a lot of people were like, you should show in LA, you should show this, and I have an exhibit, and I finally did, and it just went so well, and the response was so amazing that it just took off from there.
Do you have a favorite piece? Whether it's a painting or some of...
I do, currently. My favorite piece that I've currently made is the one that I made about Jean-Benet Ramsey.
Okay.
And it's, ever since I was a young kid, I love drama. I love a good horror story. And I remember seeing these tabloids just covering the whole store with that story and how devastating it was. And even as a young kid, I knew the intensity of that story and what happened and how
Yeah.
scary it was. And I remember just seeing how perfect and flawless she was with her tiara and her makeup, and how strange it was seeing, you know, like beauty makeup on like a 6-year-old. And I remember being like, she's so cool. I want to be her. I want my parents to murder me, and I want to be all over the cover of these tabloids.
Wow.
Like, I want to be famous. I knew I wanted
Yeah.
to be famous when I was young. I was like, I want the drama of this. I want
Yeah.
my parents to kill me, and I want to be all over these tabloids. I don't care if I'm dead. I just want to be famous. And
Wow, that's amazing. Well, you're really, really talented. I love
you
that we
so
got to
much.
talk a little bit about it.
Me too.
Share it. Look for the article in the December issue of Hot Book. And check out his website because he really has some interesting pieces. How can they contact you if they want to maybe buy a piece or?
Yeah, just through my website. But you just go to ZacharyMCrane.com and go under the contact artist link, and then shoot me an email.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.